Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla. Watch, decide, and ride. Welcome to our detailed breakdown of the new Alpinestars Tech Air Airbag Vest, available at RevZilla.com. This is the video, long awaited. This is the juggernaut, the Tech Air Airbag Vest system from Alpinestars. There are two versions. There's a race version, there's a street version. Today, I am going to break it down and help you understand why you'd choose either one, what you would use them for, as well as what jackets and race suits they work with. But before we get there, a little bit of background. First time I saw it was in Alpinestars laboratory in 2010 in Italy. They started working on it in 2001, and the concept is simple. This is an integrated product that you are going to work with a race suit or a jacket that if in the event of a crash, if you go down, the system is smart enough, it's computerized, it runs an algorithm that knows that, and it will inflate extremely quickly collarbone, shoulders, back, ribs, kidney to give you protection. Now, we saw this start in 01. We saw this enter MotoGP and World Superbike in 2009. In 2014, we saw the first available versions of the Tech Air Street and the Tech Air Race vests to be integrated with race suits and jackets in Europe. And we said, Alpinestars, we're so mad at you. Bring it to the US, and it took a few years to homologate. At this stage of the game, finally in 2017, you can invest in the Tech Air Street vest or the Tech Air Race vest, which will allow you moving forward to add one of these units to leather jackets, textile jackets, and race suits with two slightly different configurations to allow you to get the benefit of different crash scenarios, giving you that inflatability, which ultimately allows you to stay more protective in the event of something happening, a crash, a mishap. Now, that being said, let's talk about the differences between the two. Alpinestars has taken the fundamental view that when you are riding on the street, sport riding, commuting, and jackets that are, think about more of your textile or adventure range in the upright or three-quarter riding position, you would have a vest that is going to have a slightly different kidney configuration, a little bit more full coverage. But the big story there is what they've learned is when you're riding on the street, typically there are a few other types of crash scenarios that happen. One, the crashes are more violent, less runoff. Two, there is a lot of the possibility, I think 70% chance that you're going to be hit or you're going to crash it under 40 miles an hour, under 37 miles an hour, including sitting at a stoplight and getting plowed into by the idiot who is texting. So what they've done for Tech Air Street is it works with more street-oriented products, and it actually deploys both canisters, argon gas, and inflates in 25 milliseconds. That's 25 one-thousandths of a second. This fully inflates. We should show the B-roll shot right now of what that looks like. It immediately inflates, and it takes about 30 seconds to go down. So what that gives you is if you get plowed into, it's going to be more violent. You're typically going to run into something else. You got hit by a car. You might have been at a standstill. All three accelerometers, including the gyroscope, which is baked in, will know that and inflate the vest more quickly. The key change here is that when you think about Tech Air Race, which is its sister product, again, both of these are going to be north of that $1,000 mark. What you're getting is the ability to fine-tune the algorithm. Now, I will call something out here. If you happen to have a leather or a race suit or a jacket that is Tech Air Race, which gives you the ability to toggle race algorithm or street algorithm, you could be thinking, well, that's great. I'm going to leave it in race mode, and I'm going to stretch it into potentially 2 crashes. If you are in race mode, you do not get the protection in a standstill. It will not deploy if you are hit while sitting at a stop sign. So remember, if you're riding on the street and you have a Tech Air Race jacket, if you have it in race algorithm mode, it will not cover you. Keep that in mind. Having the race gives you more flexibility, but you have to toggle it depending on how you're riding that day. Again, something to think about. So the big difference is here, the different jacket that you buy from Alpinestars is only going to be compatible with one or the other. The street works in the street configuration, which will blow both canisters. The race is toggleable either way. Now, I'm going to stop there. I just gave you a lot. Remember, this is a massive investment. And also keep in mind that there's a modularity to this system that we really like. So whether you buy the street or whether you buy the race, which are maintainable through the program, Alpinestars is out of Torrance, California. They have an internal system that will work with you to keep it working over time. And if your airbags deploy, you then can re-up them by sending it in for $100 or $200 at this stage of the game. That price may change over time. But what's nice about this is Alpinestars is going to have a ton of jackets that are going to be Tech Airbag compatible. Now I'm going to contrast this with the other tech airbags or airbags on the market. You have Helite, which goes on like a vest. It works over top of any vest, and it's tethered. It's not computer controlled. You have something like Speedy System, which is also going to be more of a tether. There's also Dainese, which is going to be the D-airbag system, which is not a modular design. You'd buy the D-Air Misano jacket that would come all in one. Increases the cost, but you can't work its way across the other lines. What we like about what Alpinestars did is if you spend the time to understand based on what jacket you own or are buying, which one it is compatible with, you ultimately get a system that you could buy other jackets that it could be compatible with in the future, future-proofing your investment, which again is north of that $1,000 mark. Now, I'm going to stop there. And moving on through this video, I'm going to talk briefly about sizing. I'm going to also detail the differences between the two from a material standpoint, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how they're integrated in the system. But before I get there, let's talk about sizing. Hi-Vis Brian, to my left, 6 foot 195 in all his magical glory. Love that beard. Looks like you're trimmed up today, not as brizzled. He's wearing a size large. He used the size chart. All of the vests are alphanumeric sizes. Now, when you buy a street-oriented jacket from Alpinestars, you're going to get an alphanumeric jacket. And it's easy to say, I bought a large, I'm going to buy a large vest. And again, this is the race vest, by the way. If you buy a leather or race suit from Alpinestars, it's typically numeric sizing. So you actually have to do a little bit of work to figure out the alpha size vest that you're wearing. And again, he's wearing the race vest in a size large. You can see these are the components that would allow you to zip it in, and this is how it connects in the front. He also has an adjustable kidney belt there. And if it looks small on him, and again, this race vest, that's because it is. It is meant to be super low profile. This is meant to go over under a leather jacket or under a leather race suit. What you're going to see is lightweight mesh and just full-on Lycra everywhere. If you juxtapose that against the Tech Air Street, a little bit more micro ripstop, it's a little bit beefier of materials, it's a little bit of a heavier poly, not overly heavy, but that could be under a mixture of textile or different jackets from Alpinestars geared for the street. Has to be a bit more abrasion resistant because you know you always don't have leather over it, so it gets a little bit more heavy in weight, but it's not so bulky. So keep that in mind. Use a size chart, we'll ship for free over 39 bucks, and as always, you can call us if you have any questions. This is one of those products and investments that if anything doesn't make sense today, give us a ring, send us an email, chat us, we'll walk you through it completely. I'd also love it if you click our logo, subscribe to us at RevZilla on our YouTube channel, leave me your comments, your question, your feedback on the Tech Air vest systems, both raced and street. Now, let's dive into the nuance. And before I dive into some of the nuance and really pull this apart, I want to reiterate one more time the difference in the algorithms. The Tech Air Race, which Hi-Vis Brian is wearing, will work with jackets or race suits that say Tech Air Race compatibility. It will say it on the product that you own. And ultimately, that's going to be leathers and more sport-oriented products. The Tech Air Race has the ability, through connecting to a PC, to change the algorithm. Again, Alpinestars, you got to figure this out with a Mac. A lot of us have Macs. That is a little bit of a grape here. But you can change the algorithm, which is a 1 canister for race mode or a 2 canister for street mode. And again, that gives you the ability, the 2 canister street is 25 milliseconds because it gives you the ability to have it come out if you're hit surprisingly. 1 canister mode does a few things. It knows you have a little bit more time on the racetrack based on all the research they've done for over 10 or almost 20 years. It also gives you the ability to not have to send the jacket in if you happen to be racing or track riding that day and you have a get off. It's going to come back, it's going to inflate. Within 30 seconds to a minute, it fully deflates. You go back and race the rest of your day. You could race 3 more weekends. You could race ultimately until your next off and your next deployment, and you don't have to send it back in to get it recanistered until you've had both deployments. Now, I've kind of beat it to death. Remember, the easy way is just think about the jacket that you have. Let's get into the Tech Air Race vest itself, and as I walk through it, I'm going to talk about the nuances too compared to the street version, and we'll show you some cutaways. So again, this is your race. 2 zippers into your race suit. Kidney belt baked in. Brian, don't turn backwards, but when he turns backwards, he has a CE Level 2 back protector that has all the controls underneath that is baked into this race vest. If we look at it, mesh for airflow, Lycra for low profile stretch. Very, very small. I mean, it looks goofy on him standing here. You'd never wear it that way. But one of the big takeaways too is that on the front here, you actually have in the vest itself, this Velcro and these 2 magnets. Remember, no breast implants and no pacemakers. When those 2 magnets are closed, that is what arms it. So you have an on-off switch on the back, which we're going to show you. But with the race mode or the race vest, everything's contained within the vest. Now, if you're using the Tech Air Street, that connector that arms it is actually baked into your jacket. So same functionality, little bit of a different configuration. You also see big pops of neoprene here. Again, it's meant to be controlled and get out of the way. Now, Inflatable ballast all the way down the front. Inflatable ballast, collarbone, around the back, through the shoulders, under the kidney. Again, everything's here. Hi-Vis Brian, turn face that way for me. If we look at the shoulder, you're gonna see these panels right here. This is a Velcro panel, Velcro panel, Velcro panel on the back. All of that is when you take off the female side of the Velcro, this is actually going to allow it to work within your suit and sit, or your leather jacket, or whatever jacket you're wearing with a Tech Air Race. If you're looking at a Tech Air Street, it actually has snaps. And the snaps are what are going to hold it in place. Again, they could get away with that for the street version. I'll also say this material, this has a light micro ripstop to it as well. It's not as stretchy. Remember, I talked about it being a little bit beefier of a poly. It is a micro ripstop when you get into the Tech Air Street version. But again, that is functional, and that is what Alpinestars is designed for, the best coverage for those riding scenarios. So don't sweat that. Really, if you're gonna make the investment, know that you're buying the one that's compatible with your riding styles and the one that's denoted by the jacket you bought or the suit you bought. Go backwards for me, HVB. Now, if we look at the back here, here's your CE Level 2 back protector. And if you look at this is a zipper. Don't ever touch that zipper if you buy one of these. If you touch that zipper and open it up and get to the tanks yourself, the actual gas canisters, you voided your warranty, and Alpinestars is not going to repair this for you. Because what happens is once these blow, or once a single one blows, however you want to do it, you send it back to Torrance. There's a QR code on the inside that takes you right to the website, gives you the instructions, you send it back, and they're going to replace and refurbish essentially it back to perfect condition after you have a chance to blow those canisters. But don't open it up yourself. And if we look at the center of your back protector here, there's a few things going on. Both Tech Air vests, the street and the race, are going to have these connectors down here. The difference is on the race version, because the magnets for on-off for arming the system are actually going to be integrated, this is already plugged in. That connects to those magnets. The other hole on this side is the plug on the race suit that gives you the LEDs on the left arm that shows you if it's armed or not, if it's on or not. On your Tech Air Street, both of these holes would be open when you'd be wearing it, and you connect two plugs to the vest itself. One is going to be the arming switch with the magnets on the jacket. The other is going to be the LEDs that show you if it's on. Your on-off switch is right here in the middle, and underneath here there's a micro USB. On the Tech Air Race, you'd hook that micro USB up, and that's where you're going to charge. It's also where you're going to update firmware. The other thing to consider too, which is actually a nice convenience feature on the Tech Air Street, is that because that USB is actually pre-wired in, you can leave the Tech Air Street integrated with your jacket at all times, and because you have it and basically exit towards the bottom, you can basically charge it while it's still in your jacket. Whereas with the Race, you're going to be pulling everything out, pulling the liners out, and you need to remove the Tech Air Race if you want to charge it. So again, a little bit of a nuance there, but the Street gets that convenience function. Now I will say this, Hi-Vis Brian, turn to face me. Raise your right arm. No, I'm not going to make you swear in, left arm, sorry. Swear in for anything? What you do to your arm, man? Stop wrestling your buddies on the weekends. If we look at this, all Lycra all the way to the top, and what we have up here is this ballast comes up a little bit higher on the ribs. On the Street version, it actually gives you a little bit more mobility. The armhole comes down, it's different ergonomics, and the ballast reaches around, gives you more kidney coverage. So again, that's the difference. 3/4 upright riding position, standing on the pegs, maybe even off-roading, you have a different configuration. That's at Tech Air Street. Here on the Race version, they know typically you're in the tuck, so it's fully optimized to be in the tuck. Come back around to the front for me there, HVB. Now if I open it up, I want to show the guts here for you really quickly. If we look at the inside, micro mesh on this guy, you can see this white coloring, which is the ballast behind, again, meant to be super duper lightweight. And the thing to keep in mind here too, very simple, is to think about this. This is an item that is modular, meaning you can wear it with a multitude of Alpinestars jackets and suits going forward, depending on the one that you buy. Remember, it's maintainable. You're going to work with Alpinestars through the website, through the QR code on the inside here, to be able to work directly with them, ship it back, they're going to service it, they're going to refurbish it. There is a warranty attached to this. There's also going to be a system battery here. And that system battery, with every 1 or so years, should really, I'm going to say 1 to 1.5 years, should be looked at from Alpinestars and shipped back just to make sure that system battery is still working. If you don't use this for 6 months and you let it sit, the system battery is actually going to drain. And again, it is rechargeable, but you know this like from owning laptops and iPhones and smartphones, over time when you start to power cycle these batteries, or if you let them sit, their ability to hold a charge might degrade. The nice part is typically when it's fully charged, which takes about 6 hours, you can get 25 hours of ride time. That's actually a ton. And with a little bit of thought and a little bit of care and maintenance and the willingness to invest moving forward, you're going to have this for generations of jackets and generations of riding. Now, keep in mind, I did have a couple gripes. My first gripe was the fact that the sizing, it's alphanumeric, and again, you have to think about if you're wearing a numeric size, you have to go back to an alpha. The second gripe is that you know, there's two versions. I understand why they did it, but they made it a little tougher. But I think it's pretty simple if you just think about what jacket did I buy and which one I will fit. And the third gripe isn't really a gripe, it's just calling a spade a spade. This is industry-leading technology, and you're gonna spend over $1,000 to get this. But if you want the highest degree of protection to keep you safe while you're riding, especially if you get hit by some idiot who is texting on their phone, not paying attention, and you're stopped at a light. I had a friend get run over last year. It was insane. Thankfully, he made a full recovery. You go to a system like this, and you're investing in peace of mind and protection, taking it to the next level. The next step in your journey is to click the info button, your desktop, your mobile device. Visit the product detail page at RevZilla.com. Read other rider reviews for your Tech Air vest system, the street and the race. Remember, you shouldn't just take my word for it. As always, we'll ship for free over 39 bucks, but the biggest thing is use us as a resource. See us at RevZilla.com, 877-792-9455, via chat, via phone. We are here, we know the ins and outs, and this is one of those ones where if you're gonna make this investment, give us a shout. We'll make sure you get it perfect. It's worth taking that extra step. As always, click our logo, subscribe to us at RevZilla on our YouTube channel, stay updated with our opinion on the latest and greatest in the moto universe. I am Anthony, we'll see you next time.